For quite a while I've been running a number of successful knife fighting, knife defence courses. Whilst I still have some reservations, shall we say, about teaching knife, quite a few of my students on the Patreon channel have expressed an interest in privately learning a little bit about knives and edged weapons. As most of you know, on the Patreon channel, I've recently, about 8 months now, been practicing sword, particularly Scottish broadsword and sabre. These weapons are of course edge weapons, and I've got a couple here, such as the Scottish broadsword, and we're going to have a close look at that, characterised by the basket hilt. This is actually not a broadsword, this is a backsword because it has a flat surface here as opposed to a blade. A true broadsword would have a double edge. A fantastic bit of kit, beautiful for whipping around. A good slashing weapon, although thrusts are done. I also have a Polish sabre, a slightly different style of fighting, characterised by cross-cutting. This is a training sword, not a real sword, with sort of a shell guard here. Very comfortable to hold, very easy to train with. And of course I have some other swords in my collection, but was also couldn't not mention this rapier, a slightly more of a thrusting weapon as opposed to the slashing weapons that I've just demonstrated here, although it is possible to sort of slash with the tip. I wouldn't think it's very good personally, but it's more of a thrusting weapon and a variety of thrusts and parries with this. But those are long weapons and not the sort of thing that you're going to find people running around on the streets with. We also train with single sticks, okay, which is essentially replicating that of the sabre and the broadsword. We can do all of the moves we would normally practice, like so. It's much lighter. You can spar with each other, although we do spar with metal swords as well. But getting on to the knives, keeping it traditional, let's have a look at related to the Scottish broadsword, the Dirk. Okay, single edge, often used like this, stabbing. Okay, reverse sabre grip for stabbing, thrusting, slashing, but more realistic, I think, when we use it in a backhanded fashion. And obviously using the Taj, which is a shield, or if we were doing traditional knife fighting, using the live hand to catch and stab like so. Okay, so that's the Dirk, Scottish Dirk. Moving on from the Scottish Dirk, and we'll get more realistic, we need to move on to a Kbar fighting knife. This is more the type of thing that we're going to talk about in this series of videos. Held in this grip here, if I just demonstrate this sabre grip, known as a sabre grip. The thumb is forward like so. Also use a hammer grip. Okay, that gives you more strength, particularly when you're thrusting into the body. This is more for slashing. We can have a reverse sabre. I'm not a big fan of the reverse sabre grip with a small knife like this, and of course the ice pick grip like this. It's a single edge, but this is a utility tool. It's a combat knife called the Kbar. Quite a bit of a story behind the development of the Kbar, but we'll come to that another time. But again, we slash in short movements and short stabbing movements and parry and check like so. So we're constantly on the move. Okay, whether you would choose to use this against another human being is, well, it's down to your own personal view on morals and ethics and so on. And don't think you can get a knife off someone who's empty-handed, who knows what they're doing. You probably won't. So what I want to do over this next couple of weeks really is introduce you to the art of knife fighting. We're using this particular knife. You may have one of these at home, you may have a wooden knife or a shorter knife, but we're looking at something that is a utility knife that's about 6 inches long, and make sure that you don't have an edge on it. I don't want you cutting yourself. This is sharp, it's extremely sharp, but I've been handling knives and weapons for the past 30-40 years. In fact, I picked up my first sharp blade when I was about 14, and that was a katana. Okay, and a mate of mine cut his finger off playing with it. Quite honestly, that's what happened. Of course, yeah, it would go amiss for me not to mention the kukri. This is a particularly large kukri. There are different sizes, smaller ones and even smaller. This is the fighting knife of the Gurkhas. Incredibly powerful hacking weapon, not very good for thrusting. More of a utility tool, and You can chop somebody's head off with it. It's got a hell of a weight behind it. The point of balance is somewhere about there, middle of the actual weapon. Okay, so it's a heavy weapon. And whenever you're putting the blade back in the sheath, make sure you don't hold round this side of the scabbard, because this blade is sharp and this is made of cardboard and wood. And I've seen people cut their fingers holding it like that, so make sure you hold the fingers either side and slot it back in if you have a kukri. You're probably wondering what these are. These are paring knives for when you're taking skin off animals for hunting. It's essentially, as I say, a utility knife. Now I know some of you know about knives, probably know a little bit more about Eskrima and Filipino stuff, but what I'm going to talk about in this series of the videos, just from a patrons obviously, are the more practical, can we say, Western styles of fighting. And with that, I'll just leave you to the nonsense that is isolation.